All right, so now I want to talk about this shooting some more because a whole lot of new stuff came to light, and I think there's a lot of things being ignored, and there's going to be a lot of things shut out by the media. So I want to talk about it now. Uh, First of all, it looks like Charlie was probably not killed by a loony leftist. He was killed for talking about the Mossad. The Mossad, the whole thing started when he rapidly started growing faster and more in popularity and getting more of an audience within the last couple of years. There was even talks about him being president one day, or possibly running as a VP or something. There was a lot of things talked about like this, and when we have the same organization that Jeffrey Epstein used to work for, that made a lot of people disappear here in America, it really doesn't surprise me the way that Charlie was taken out. See, he put all the truth right on out there for everybody, the way he always has. And with them, you can't do that. You just can't. They'll just take you out of the game. And what happened was, or at least what I'm seeing happened. Obviously, I'm sure most of you, if you're watching this far into the video, you've probably already seen the fact that it's all over YouTube now. He was shot in the back of the head, and what we saw was an exit wound. And I assumed that just by the blood splatter, but I couldn't say for sure, obviously, because I'm not a specialist. I don't have a lot of experience in this. I just understand physics. And I know that in that spot on your neck, there is an enormous artery with a lot of elasticity. So when that artery does get breached, sure, it might put out a nice big water balloon effect, kind of like what we saw. But being an exit wound explains not only that effect, but also the size of the opening pretty well, because that opening looked like his thumb could have probably stuck in it. And that's not what happens on an entry wound. That's what happens on an exit wound. With that being said, there's been more videos surfacing now showing that he was shot in the back of the head. And also, there's been information that's been brought out that Tyler Robinson, who everything looked way too convenient with, Tyler Robinson had a offshore account with a $50,000 deposit made. So if somebody paid Tyler Robinson off to go and make this hit, I mean, with everything in this world, with our technology, cameras everywhere, there was no way he was going to get away with it completely. Not scot-free. No way. So they knew he was going to get caught. I think they expected him to get caught. I think they wanted him to get caught. They wanted him to get arrested. I think everybody's in on it. $50,000 isn't enough to ruin your life or possibly get the death penalty. Nobody would do that. Not even anybody in their wrong mind would do that, let alone the right mind. You got paid $50,000 to assassinate a prominent political figure? I don't think so. No way. Especially not by an enormously rich country like that. What he probably got paid $50,000 for was about a year worth of work. A year worth of work from start to finish, being training, practice, not for shooting, but as a accessory, planning, and not only that, but the rest of the year now is going to be him going through trials, sitting in Club Fed with the most luxurious prison stay he could possibly get, until they finally either give him the death penalty, which is what I think is going to happen, because it'll avoid future reporting or interviews or information coming out of him. But what will really happen is, instead of him actually getting killed off with the death penalty, they'll just relocate him, give him a new identity, put him somewhere else, and that'll be the end of the story. The world will be under the impression that he got killed by a death penalty. I don't think he's getting the death penalty yet. I don't think anybody's made any decisions like that, but I guarantee you it's what's going to happen. He has to get relocated. Otherwise, it would have been a lot more money, and it probably wouldn't have went to him. It probably would have went to someone he cared about if he knew he was going to go and do something and end up getting a death penalty. There's no way in hell they could have convinced him he would actually get away with it the way things were done. There's no way. He never would have been able to text about the murder. He never would have been able to text his little weird furry friend lover thing. That it wouldn't have happened. No way. Anybody that's going to be smart enough to come up with a plan to pull off that assassination is going to know better than to text all that shit. They're not going to do it. It's stupid. And it's stupid for us to have even believed it. But When we had nothing else to believe, I was going off whatever made the most sense, and there wasn't much. Now it makes a lot more sense. There's a lot of people talking about the Mossad now, and it's only going to get worse. And they really, really screwed themselves on this because they thought they were going to shut this up, but they amplified it by like 1,000. And now that the truth's coming out, with the reflection of the actual muzzle flash in the window behind him, and with the actual blood splatter coming out of his head behind him, and you can see it in 3 or 4 different camera angles now when slowed down and watched frame by frame, watching the shirt propel forward and his head go forward when he's hit rather than him get knocked backwards. It all played together perfectly now. It all makes sense. Not much of it made sense before. I even thought I saw a blood splatter on the wall behind him before, but it turned out it was actually just red lettering on the banner that was kind of just perfectly placed. I was wrong on that one. So let's see what plays out over the next few days and how much of this shit they leave out and how much they actually tell you. God bless. Let us not forget, in case I didn't mention in the previous video, that for this to have gone this way, the medical examiners, coroners, medics that worked on him, every staff member that saw him after the shooting, the people in the whatever mortuary he's in, wherever he's at, everybody that has seen that man since the shooting is in on it. And I have a really hard time believing that the FBI isn't in on it, because I feel like they would probably send their own examiners on something like this, which might also explain the weirdness of Kash Patel and the lack of words from Kash Patel or Bongino lately. There's a lot to be thought about here, as well as, I mean, if they're really trying to cover up a Mossad murder on such a prominent figure, the government's definitely in on it. Trump administration and everybody has to be. What are we afraid of? That's the question. What are we afraid of?